As we've been reporting, the Marlborough Hotel in Winnipeg is under a shadow after a video went viral last week showing a young woman's hands tied behind her back. Protesters crashed the lobby and basement of the hotel last weekend. Our Truth and Politics panel is here to weigh in on this situation. Carrie Benjo is the editor of Eagle Feather News and in Regina, and Niigaan Sinclair is a columnist with the Winnipeg Free Press. Niigaan, Carrie, thanks for being with us this week. Niigaan, starting with you, we can't say much about the video because the young woman in it has been charged, so it's before the courts. But what did you make of the video, and how common do you think this type of treatment is?
Well, I mean, certainly we send our thoughts to the woman who's on the video, who, whether she has a history with the law, it doesn't matter. The fact is that the video that was shown is a harrowing video. It's a video in which there is certainly a lot of questionable behavior by the staff of this particular hotel, and that the Winnipeg police have an obligation to investigate what is going on within that site. The problem, of course, is that when the Winnipeg police hesitate or don't take seriously the claims. My colleague Rebecca Chambers, who writes for the Winnipeg Free Press, wrote a really brilliant column this week to say when Indigenous peoples are not believed, then the community takes it upon themselves to do the work necessary for the investigation. And they're not going to do that in a way that maybe is more comfortable for those who are in certain legal circles. They're going to do that in a way that they're not going to take no for an answer, and they're also going to be very aggressive looking for those answers. And so that's what really the situation has bubbled over in the surface, in that we have, if the legal system, if the justice system will not do the work, then the community will do it. And it's not going to look like the ways that the legal or perhaps other people of the public are comfortable with. It's going to be something that people want answers immediately.
Carrie, you know, the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations in your area weighed in with an example from a hotel in North Battleford, discrimination in a restaurant there. Are political leaders getting involved now because regular people are out protesting?
I think anytime we see something that is to the extreme that we've seen take place in Winnipeg, our leaders will come forward. FSIN, I noticed that they watch what's happening on social media and they react and they respond. And I think that is telling of them. They try to be in the know of what's happening at the community level. When it comes to situations like this, I think there needs to be a more proactive, more researched approach. You know, like putting out a news release, condemning, yeah, that's fine. But what else? What, as leaders, are you going to do to address this situation? You know, these are businesses. And one of the biggest things that you can do to a business is to stop, you know, providing them with financial gains, you know, like back in the civil rights era, there was the Green Book, you know, businesses that were Indigenous friendly. Perhaps maybe there's something like this that needs to happen. Maybe there needs to be more investigation, more thought put into where they're going to invest their money, because there's money going into these businesses that are mistreating our people.
Niigaan, there's been some criticism over the protests at the whole hotel last weekend. Do you think any of that criticism is warranted?
I think when it comes to an issue of human trafficking, I think everything's on the table. I think the fact is that you saw those who attended that protest. I wouldn't even call it a protest. It was really an investigation because the Winnipeg police were not investigating, or certainly were not being aggressive in what has been documented by our newspaper and others to be a space in which human trafficking is taking place. I mean, there is legitimate legal cases at that particular hotel in which women are being trafficked, that prostitution rings are being based within that institution. And so the community simply had enough. And what I would say to anyone who's concerned about, using even our newspaper, which I'm uncomfortable with them framing this as some sort of rampage or some kind of destruction of property. Here's the facts, is that when human trafficking is taking place and those institutions will not investigate them and not take them seriously, then all bets are on the table. And that means that the community will take it upon themselves to be able to investigate. And we think about the history of women in landfills. We think of Indigenous women and girls who are going missing and murdered all the time. There are places that these women are going, and if there will not be institutions who will then step up and do this investigating, then the community will do it. And I think that everything is possible in that scenario. And I'm not a person who says, oh, let's just simply toss off the justice system, toss away the police, but they have to step up. They have to be able to step alongside Indigenous peoples and leadership and be able to investigate when there is clear cause, clear evidence, and clear reason to investigate.
Well, there's also been, Carrie, a lot of misinformation online about this all, but do you think there are other establishments, not just here in Winnipeg, that need to be under the microscope?
Oh, definitely. This is not just a Winnipeg issue. This is an issue that anywhere there's a significant amount of Indigenous people, whether it's a small town, whether it's a larger urban setting, there are businesses, there are establishments that are known to mistreat people based simply on the color of their skin. And unfortunately, Indigenous people seem to get the most discrimination, even from, other people of color, as we've seen at the Marlborough. There were people of color discriminating. I don't want to say discriminating, but, it was a situation where it's a new Canadian, Indigenous people. There was a lot of conflict there. I think there is something that is really telling with this situation, and I think it speaks to reconciliation. Reconciliation is obviously not working because these situations shouldn't be happening as often as they are.
Carrie Negon, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks to you both for being here again this week.
Thanks.